Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Lord Xenu?
This sounds like an alien thing.
I mean, well, I guess technically. I'm going to be honest. I didn't think about this. It was happening last time. I didn't think about this. I was like, oh, yeah, this is another alien-free episode. I guess technically there are some aliens.
Okay, but here's the thing. Lord Xenu?
Xenu.
Okay, I thought
Lord
this was...
Xenu.
That's what I thought. I thought there was someone at Lake of the Ozarks just out here being like, I'm Lord Xenu.
Lord Xenu.
Yeah.
Watch me rip this ramp.
And they do the whole, like, the water shoots straight up from the back of it. What are those called?
Yeah. What about the space opera and the Wall of Fire?
Space opera and Wall of Fire?
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
Well.
Try this, Thetan.
What?
Thetan?
Okay.
Okay, or maybe Thetan. Thetan, it might be Thetan. What about Dianetics?
Did you say Thetan?
Yeah.
Thetan.
Thetan.
Really?
What?
Thetan?
Is that a thing?
No. It just sounds like someone with a lisp. You better
look out
for Thetan.
Dark Lord Thetan, please let me go to space.
I want to do opera in space. It is Lord Xenu. He can't say Xenu. It's Lord Xenu. Yeah, my name is Lord Xenu. I love Thetan.
What about Dianetics? Have you ever heard of Dianetics?
Dianetics? Yeah. What is this? What are we doing?
Sea Org? You heard of Sea Org?
What are we doing?
This is Scientology. It's L Ron Hubbard. We're doing L Ron Hubbard.
Are we really?
Yes, we are.
Oh my god!
And I just listed a bunch of weird stuff from Scientology, and it sounded bonkers.
We're doing a Scientology episode?
It looks like one of us is going to have to get divorced. It ain't going to be me. None of those books are the kind of books where like you look back and say, that was a hit.
He moves to City, Kansas. Feels like whenever the pilots give you those wings on the Southwest flight, everyone at this college was aliens.
Also because it's weird. And if it was public, then everyone would be like, this is stupid.
Things I learned last night.
Dianetics sounded familiar to me. Speaking of Scientology, though, I opened for Pauly Shore this weekend.
From the Jersey Shore?
Gosh, that's what every idiot says now. No, all the moms who listen to our podcast know who Pauly Shore is. You know who Pauly Shore is?
No.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Well, he's really big in the 90s. He was... He made MTV what MTV... Anyway, he was whatever. So, open for Pauly Shore, and one of the funny bits that he had in the show was that he tried to join Scientology, but they were like, no thanks. he was like, come on! It's pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's go. When did you open for him?
This weekend at the Improv.
Oh, I didn't even know that was this weekend.
Yep.
Thanks for the invite, man.
Well, you wouldn't have come up. It was 40 minutes from your house.
Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't have.
Yeah. And
I would have liked to be invited.
Invited?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the plastic.
So I'm very curious about Scientology people because they have put up this stupid, gigantic sign in downtown Kansas City and ruined our skyline.
I think it's kind of nice.
No, it's not.
Like, I don't like that it says Scientology, but it's a nice looking sign.
Yeah, the font's fine. What are you talking about? You think I'm mad
with
the font that they chose?
It's a good
font. You think I'm like, man, I wish they would have done Comic Sans. I wish they would have put Comic Sans. But I don't like that it's downtown. It's just, I don't like that it's in the skyline now.
I mean, first of all, it's not in the skyline. It's in Midtown. That's outside the skyline. Second of all, it looks good. Like, it's a good looking sign.
Are you a fan?
I'm not a fan. I just think that's a good sign.
Okay.
Like, that's a good looking sign.
All right.
Like, of all the signs. All right, anyways.
Yeah.
Like a good sign.
Like a good sign.
Like not a like a good
like a good sign. Yeah. We'll tell our Discord members what that comedy special is eventually.
Yeah, we will. So this episode, we're going to focus a little more on L Ron Hubbard.
Okay.
It's going to cover a lot of Scientology. You'll understand a lot about it by the end of this.
Okay.
But L Ron, his name is L, letter L, for Lafayette. Ron for Ronald. Hubbard.
Oh,
for
I thought
Hubbard.
L Ron was one name, so I'm already learning stuff.
Yeah, so it's Lafayette Ronald Hubbard. Everyone made fun of him for being named Lafayette, so he started going by L Ron, which makes sense. And also, L Ron sounds kind of like
L Ron's
mystic.
cool.
It sounds mystic. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're inventing a religion.
I'm not saying L Ron Hubbard is cool. I'm saying L
the
Ron.
name L Ron Hubbard.
That's why I go by Jaron now.
So he was born in 1911 in Nebraska, and then some life happened. Went to college, didn't go well in college.
Where do you go to college? 'Cause is Scientology based in Los Angeles?
Well, sorta.
Okay.
He went to the George Washington University's School of Engineering because his dad really wanted him to go there in 1930. But he was a pretty crappy student, and so he dropped out in 1932
Okay.
and decided to take a trip to the Caribbean.
Okay.
He went to the Caribbean because he wanted to do Red Cross work. On the way there, though, he was like, hey, I hear there's a lot of gold down here. So he just found another island or something and started looking for gold. Didn't find anything.
How do you look for gold? You just keep your eyes peeled?
Yeah, like...
What's the tactic? You gotta go mine that stuff, right?
Here, gold.
Here, gold.
Like the Pig Suey videos.
Dear Satan, please help me find some coal. Like, what do you got to do?
I don't know. He just looked for gold for a little bit, didn't find any. Got to Puerto Rico, did some Red Cross work, found out charity wasn't for him, and then
We need to get you a Dave Ramsey headset. You know how you're seeing Dave Ramsey's radio show,
no.
and he wears big ears and one of those gigantic
the Britney Spears
microphones.
mics. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not all thin. It's not thin like Britney Spears. That's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, no, it's like a full, like Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade
Yeah.
thing.
Why? Because
And-
you think I moved my crane arm too much.
Yeah, but yours, or at least some WD-40 over here. You're hearing that one a lot, right?
I never hear it in the episode. Alex always cuts it out.
I don't think he cuts it out.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
You cut it out?
I don't think I've ever heard it
Oh.
listening to the episode. Like actually listening to it back. I hear
Yeah,
it
but none of
live.
these are out yet. Usually
I
you
hear
just
it live.
Like this. You were just so far away from the microphone that nothing mattered. But then here we are.
Okay, whatever.
I'm sorry.
So he moves to D.C.,
Okay.
Washington.
Because he was like, there's gold there.
Yeah.
D.C., Washington.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. He moves to City, Kansas. And what are you talking about?
Moves to D.C., Washington. Found out there's a lot of gold in Fort Knox. Is Fort Knox in Washington? Where's Fort Knox?
Don't ask me questions. This is not my job. I didn't come prepared with answers. And I also don't have a computer in front of me.
Where is Fort Knox? Oh, it's Kentucky. Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay.
Should have known. Obvious. So he went to D.C. and he started a writing career where he wrote science fiction. And he actually, the majority of this early phase of his career.
What year is this?
1933.
Okay.
He started writing short
At 22
stories.
years old.
Yeah, started writing short stories that were landing in like little pulp fiction magazines, right?
Sure.
And eventually got a deal to write his first like novel and started just writing an insane amount of science fiction novels.
Okay.
To the point where he became the most published author of all time. He's got like 670 some odd novels to his name. Like it's bonkers.
Really?
Yeah, he wrote so much science fiction.
And didn't plagiarize any of it?
I don't think so.
I mean, to put out that many books, how big are these books?
a page or two. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming like at least 100-ish pages, like to be a novel. Like
That is a crazy amount of stuff.
yeah.
How long of a span was this that he's putting?
I mean, over
out?
the course of his life, he put out like 670.
But still, let's say that he did it till he was in his. When did he? I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of us.
He died at 74, I think.
So I'm saying he starts writing at 22. That's 50 something years, right? That is 10 books a year.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bonkers amount of writing he did. Like an absolutely.
That's
bonkers
like,
amount.
here's my book for this month.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a book of a month club they can't even keep up with, and that's just them reading somebody else's.
Yeah, and he wrote them.
And he was like,
that
I'm going to
fast.
start a book of the month club
where I just write
where
a
I
book
just write a book each month.
every month.
At a certain point, you got to start recycling, though.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. None of his books are classics. Like, none of his books are the book where you
None
look
of his
at
books are good.
I mean,
you
for
know?
real, though, like, none of his books are the kind of books where, like, you look back and say, that was a hit. Like, they're all books. I think he did the math. I think he said he was making a penny a word.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I don't know how many words are in a typical novel, but I know, like, the average, like, college ruled page is, like, 300 words. So he would get, what, $3 a page? Which, I don't know, about an hour of work to do 3 to 4 pages. So he's making, like, $10 an hour, which back then is probably pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So he started,
but he's getting them published. Like, he's got to, he's not just putting, he's just not like, here's my book.
Yeah, he's got a decent writing career, but he's not making a ton of money off of it.
Sure.
And so he gets married. He meets this woman by the name of Margaret Polly.
In what free time? That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, how did he have time for anything else? So he marries this woman. He's writing for a few years. They've got their young marriage or whatever going on, you know, like early love. Then he has this dental procedure in 1938. And he has like an allergic reaction to like a drug that they used in the procedure. And it's like a near-death experience for him. And supposedly in this near-death experience, he composes this manuscript that never got published, but he has a title for it. He calls it The One Command, or it's a separate title, Excalibur. So it's two.
Got it.
One Command or Excalibur. Never published this, but he said that this manuscript, he talks about it to say that this manuscript has more influential power in it than the Bible. He says it could change the world as we know it.
And he was high on dental meds.
Yeah, he got his wisdom teeth out, and most people
I was like, give me a typewriter.
Let me tell you about
and some ginger ale. And he just
so he pens this manuscript that he's like, this is gonna change the world as we know it. Like, it's life-changing deal. And so he starts kind of
shopping it around,
exploring this idea, but he's not publishing it. He's kind of exploring this idea, still writing his books. It's kind of like this thing that's on those. It's a side project, right?
Yeah.
Like he's
my side project is the one rule of life that I want everyone to live by.
My side project is the new Bible.
Yeah. My side project is revolutionary change to the world. But yeah, it's just a hobby. What do you do in your free time?
Yeah, so
this is him dating his wife.
So he's writing books. He takes a trip to Alaska, explores Alaska, and it's like formative for him or whatever. He sees the world in a new light after it.
Okay.
He's got his little side project with his Excalibur manuscript, and then the war starts because this is late 30s. So he enlists. Well, he tries to join the Navy, and they say, "We don't want you."
No, thank you.
And then he tries again when the war gets a little further in, and they're like, "We need some
He's
help."
like, "Hey, things have gotten pretty out of hand."
Yeah. And then they're like, "Okay, fine." And so he somehow works his way up. So he works his way to a lieutenant junior grade, which I don't understand. That feels a lot like Dwight Schrute being the assistant manager.
I'm assistant to the lieutenant.
I am junior lieutenant of this ship.
Yeah. Feels like whenever the pilots give you those wings on the Southwest flight.
Yeah, you're a lieutenant junior grade.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for all you've done.
It's like sitting in the emergency exit row, where it's like you have a responsibility, but like only if things get really bad. That's a good example. That's not working your way up. That's just sitting in the right seat.
All right, so Hubbard was sent on what they called submarine chaser training.
Okay.
And so he was commanding a ship that was supposed to be chasing submarines, right?
Yeah.
Off the coast of San Diego.
And they're, constantly, all day, swimming, right? And they're just trying to, you got to up your speed if you're going to be able to chase a submarine.
Swim faster, Hubbard.
Yeah. Dude, and that was before they genetically modified him and got like people like Michael Phelps, you know? Crazy.
Yeah, submarines swim
I'm
way
saying
faster
also,
than you.
this guy wrote that many books and is also taking this much time in the military?
Yeah, he did take a break to do the military thing because the war. I mean, everybody took a break.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that makes that number even crazier.
Yeah, it really is.
I can't get past that.
So he's doing this training, and off the coast of San Diego, he encounters what they believe is an Axis submarine off the coast of San Diego. So he engages this submarine, and he leads his ship, and they engage the submarine for 68 hours. They're firing on this submarine. So a long conflict, only to realize that it was just a magnetic deposit on the seafloor, not a submarine. Just a natural...
Nothing shooting back.
Yeah. They're like, keep firing. It's still there.
It was a real Kelly Hopkinsville encounter.
Sir, we've hit this thing about 100 times in the last 4 days.
Keep doing it. No mercy.
So that kind of put a check on the Navy's heart. They were like, I don't know if this guy's fit for the Navy. We didn't think he was originally. Originally, the reason they cut him out, they said, this is their official statement. They said, this officer is not satisfactory for independent duty assignment. He is garrulous, I'm not sure what that means, and tries to give impressions of his importance. He also seems to think he has unusual ability in most lines. These characteristics indicate he will require close supervision for satisfactory performance and of any intelligence duty. So basically,
interesting.
He's really full of himself. And he's not very good at anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's writing a book called The One Commandment, so I wouldn't call him humble. Humble Hubbard.
So later, on another training exercise, he's in the Gulf, and he shoots a Mexican ship down, which was an ally of the U.S. I'm pretty sure still is. Shoots a Mexican ship down, and then they were like, yeah, you got to go, man. You can't be a part of this anymore.
Yeah.
And
this is where we draw the line.
Yeah, so he gets sent home. They actually hospitalize him for some minor injuries. And then he moves back to LA where he tries to pick up his writing career from where he left off. Right?
What was his wife doing this whole time?
I don't really know.
He's still married to that lady, though.
Yeah, I assume. And
so now they're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's still married to her. They moved to LA. And while he's in LA, he's writing again. Still kind of in the back of his head being like, remember that thing I wrote that like is going to change the world?
Yeah.
But not like pursuing it. He's just like, man, that was a cool thing I wrote. Like,
yeah. He took one sentence. Yeah, that was a really good.
The sentence was, "This will change the world."
I was like, oh man,
that was a good idea I had back then. So he moves to LA, and while he's in LA, he makes friends with Aleister Crowley and Jack Parsons, which 2 episodes we've done in the past. Go back and listen to them if you haven't. And they do some weird stuff together. Most notably of which L Ron Hubbard steals or gets $20,000. Was it 20 or 40?
It was $20,000 from Jack Parsons, and then takes his wife.
Yeah, and takes his wife.
But that's what I'm saying. Was he divorced from the other girl?
Yeah, the interesting thing that I didn't know when we did Jack Parsons was L Ron was not divorced. He was still married to his wife. So took this woman and legally marries her because apparently they didn't check back then. They were just like, oh, you want to get married? Cool. You're not married to anybody else, are you?
I don't think they check now.
Hey, just want to verify.
Do they?
You're not married to anybody else. Nobody asked me.
I was going to say, you guys are both married.
Yeah,
did anybody ask?
I have a feeling like the county would probably look at the records because polygamy is illegal.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they would check the county records and say...
Well, for you, they just look at your hand. Like, you got a ring already.
What they train them on is they're like, check their fingers. Hey, can I see your left hand? And you just have to go...
Like, a shark ate it. How insensitive of you to ask.
Where are you going to put your ring then?
I don't know.
I'm going to wear a bracelet on my left arm.
You know when you go to a water park and they give you that little expanding bracelet on the locker key? You know, you're supposed to wear that. Yeah, we're going to do that with a little heart on it.
Yeah, with a little diamond at the top.
Yeah. I'm surprised you don't recognize me from the Soul Surfer movie.
I'm surprised you don't recognize me from my other 3 marriages.
I was here earlier this week. I'm the person with one hand, and I'm getting married again.
Remember when I married that other person?
Really sorry about your first marriage. Why?
Why? It's going great.
No one's questioning.
Eventually, she looks like a 2007's emo with like 40 bracelets on her forearm.
Or a 2010 evangelist, just
all these
gosh.
Bible verses.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
you were like, did your hand get eaten by a shark, or was the circulation cut off by all those bracelets? It just fell off. Oh wow, love a good Bethany Hamilton joke. That's great.
To answer your question.
I
don't know if anybody checks. I assume that when they file, they check.
Yeah, I assume so too. But back then, they didn't
have any computers.
No one was like, "Do you have a wife already?" Yeah. Okay, so he
checked this box to confirm not married.
He married. How many women did he end up marrying?
Well, he married her, and then his wife found out, and she's like, "Wait a second, you married another person?" Like,
he's like,
"I'm right here."
Did I not tell you that? I texted you. I texted you after lunch. Read it. No, look. You sent back a GIF. Oh, I was responding to your other text. I must have missed the part where you got married to somebody else. L Ron.
You told me to go to Jack Parsons' house and carry Sarah
and
marry Sarah. No, it's autocorrect. I said carry. Oh,
that doesn't make sense either, though.
Yeah, carry her back home. It was an old way of saying, give her a ride. I want to get tea with her this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Carry her over to the tea place.
Carry her over.
Carry her.
Got it.
But you married her.
Well, sorry, I was just trying to do what you asked.
Well, it looks like one of us is going to have to get divorced. It ain't going to be me.
It's going to be you either way. L Ron.
So she leaves him.
Because he married somebody else?
Yeah, Polly's like, I'm not.
It's a good reason.
Yeah, Polly's like, I'm leaving. So she does.
Polly. I thought
Polly's
you were talking about
wife.
Pauly Shore for a second because we mentioned him earlier. I was like, Polly was leaving?
No, Polly's his first wife.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with too many advertisements during the TILLN podcast? Have we got good news for you? Our patrons enjoy ad-free experience, and they get early access to content, behind-the-scenes stuff, exclusive merchandise, and access to a private Discord channel where we all are in it, our producers and the hosts. So if you'd like to be a patron today and solve that problem, why don't you text TILLN to 66866.
Yeah, so
she was like, I'm out.
Sarah is his second wife. Polly leaves. And then he goes to Florida to start this boating company.
Yeah, right. With Jack Parsons' money.
Starts making a bunch of boats. Yeah. Him and Sarah, pretty big friends because, the whole culty thing. They're both really into culty stuff.
Yeah. Are they still in touch with Aleister Crowley during this time?
I believe so.
So they already had like culty roots to them.
Yeah. And
he hasn't done anything Scientology related yet.
No. Yeah, okay. So this is the late 40s. There's no hint of Scientology in him.
But how was he rich before? Was he rich?
No.
So the money that he got from Jack Parsons was his first like investment stuff.
Yeah, that was his first like money. Serious sum of money.
Right.
I mean, he was a struggling author.
The reason you thought it was 40 is because $20,000 when that exchange happened was about $400,000 now.
Yeah. So it was a very significant sum of money that he came across, especially compared to what he had been making his whole life, writing little books. But he's still doing that. He's still writing little books. And
making boats.
Yeah, he makes this little yacht thing and just drives it around and does stuff with it. I don't know. Whatever you do when you have a boating company. Mm-hmm. And then two interesting things happen in this era, the late 40s.
Two interesting things.
Two
interesting things.
Two things. So he starts working with this guy who's got a yacht, right?
Okay.
And the guy reaches out to the VA and is like, hey, we need to get this guy, L Ron Hubbard, like psychiatric treatment. And he writes to the VA, and I guess he had been trying for a couple of years to get this guy like psychiatric help. And the VA is just kind of ignoring all of his pleas.
And he's like, no, for real, this guy's weird.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's insane. He needs help. And the VA is kind of ignoring all of his attempts. Meanwhile, L Ron Hubbard puts together his theory he calls Dianetics. And so Dianetics is a psychology book that he writes. It's his first published work of nonfiction.
Okay.
And the idea is that every physical ailment in your body is related to a psychological state, like an emotion. And so if you
have a toothache,
then it's because you have some sort of negative emotion. And if you can do away with that negative emotion, you'll do away with that physical ailment as well. The
physical is a manifestation of your emotional state.
Exactly. And so he started creating this system. He called them audits. And so you audit your memories, you audit your feelings, you audit your emotions, and wipe away all the bad. And so if you have bad memories, you're wiping away the bad memories. You have bad emotions, you're wiping away the bad emotions, and that'll make you physically healthy. And in doing it as you practice this and you get better at it, you're supposed to be able to get yourself to a level that he calls clear. And so that's where all the bad is gone and you're just completely clear. And what's significant about it is, one, you're physically super healthy, but two, your mind is in a much stronger state. So you're supposed to be able, you're supposed to have like a photographic memory at this state and have all these like almost like, I want to say supernatural abilities.
Is he writing this from the perspective that he has reached clear?
Yes.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
And he it's not like supernatural abilities, but it's like you have a really high IQ. It's like your brain is bigger than everybody else's. It literally says your brain is 2 sizes too big for your skull, and you're gonna have to get a new skull, and I can sell it to you. He doesn't say that.
Yeah.
But it's basically.
Does he actually talk about brain growth though?
No, he doesn't. But he's essentially saying you're unlocking more parts of your brain that you're not using.
Okay.
And so he goes and he buys a fake doctorate from some doctorate farm.
You can do that?
Yeah, you can.
A doctorate farm? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. This is a real thing. They're like scam organizations that pretend to be universities, and they make this fake name. They go out and they get they get legally certified as an education place, and then you just go, you pay X amount of dollars to get a degree, but you don't have to do any coursework. They print it for you, but it's all a lie. They get caught all the time.
It's
but
like
they keep
fake accreditation.
Up. Yeah, exactly. And so he went and he bought a fake PhD.
And this is a serious question. This isn't like a dig or anything like that. Is that what Trump University was?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably.
Okay.
I don't want to say probably. Maybe.
Okay. That was a genuine question. That's not like a dig or like a political.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But so he goes and he starts traveling around the world.
Yeah.
Doing these speaking engagements, presenting this idea as if he is a psychiatrist with a PhD and all this experience and all this clinical experience, and trying to get
Which is all forged.
Yeah, and trying to get other psychiatrists to buy into it and buy his book Dianetics.
Okay.
And so it's a scam. It's a full-blown giant scam he's trying to play. Well, it all crumbled in California one year. I think it was like 49 when he was doing one of these speeches. He called a woman up, and she was supposed to have gone through all the clear and whatever, and she had reached a level of clear, and then she was supposed to have a photographic memory. So he was going to show her some flashcards, and then she was going to go through the stack and say exactly, like in order, what everything in the stack was. She couldn't do it. And then he turned around, and he's like, well, she'll be able to remember the color of my tie. And he turned around, and he's like, what color is my tie? And she's like, blue, and it's red. And everybody just walked out on him. Like, they were just like, okay, this guy's full of it. Like, this is bogus. And so word starts to spread that this Hubbard guy, this Dianetics book is bogus. Like, there's nothing to it. Because it was, for a second, the psychiatric community was like, is this legit? Like, this guy's got a degree. Like, he's got the book. He's got all this experience. And, like, they were reading
He's claiming results.
Yeah. And so they were like, maybe there's something to this. And then news came out about this meeting where he tried to show. And everyone's like, oh, no, this guy's full of it.
Yeah, he's lying.
So he becomes convinced that, and
okay,
So he becomes convinced that psychiatrists are aliens who have been sent to Earth to tear down the Dianetics system. And because Dianetics was here to save humanity. And so he says psychiatrists are aliens and they're trying to destroy our health as a race. And they're doing this by taking away Dianetics from us because they know it'll save our entire race.
I mean, that's a logical step. You know, that makes sense.
It's the most sensible next step for this scenario. So
I've thought that when people walk out of my comedy shows, I'm like, which happens a lot. Every comedy show, I walk a whole crowd. I start a show and they all stand up in unison. And they walk out, and I'm screaming at them. I'm like, "What color's my tie?"
You're all aliens.
Yeah, and I go, and then I spread the word. I go, listen, in freaking Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Okay, everyone at this college was aliens. Okay, and they are. Anytime anyone unfollows me on social media, aliens. Yeah.
Must be an alien.
Must be.
So he starts the Dianetics Foundation,
obviously,
and where he's like,
which is two parts. One, trying to spread Dianetics because it's like, hey, this is for the health and mental and physical health of everyone in the world, and two, to stop the lizard people takeover.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
It sounds like he could use some Dianetics.
So he.
This is classic, like he did an audit of himself or whatever he calls it.
Yeah.
And then just goes, the problem can't be me.
Yeah, it's not me. It's got to be someone else. So Hubbard he was always kind of crazy, obviously. But this is where he goes just absolutely
off the rails.
Insane. Yeah, absolutely insane. And so things with him and Sarah start going.
And this is the early 50s?
Let me double check. Yeah, this is early 50s. And so his relationship with Sarah starts kind of getting pretty negative.
Sure.
Eventually to the point where she walks out on him, and then
he's like, "You're an alien."
Well, he chases her down and kidnaps her and ties her up and locks her in his basement.
Is that real?
Yes. Because he's like the aliens are trying to take you, and so she recommends him.
What?
She recommends him to get like psychological like testing after this whole event.
From who? She's in a basement. He lets her out.
Yeah, he lets her out. Obviously, like they. I don't know. I don't know what happened after.
You can't break up with me. That's the aliens trying to get to you.
Yeah, pretty rough. And so
what?
A psychiatrist said that this man is dangerous and should not be allowed to be.
I don't even know the rest of the story yet, but just based solely where we're at now, and then knowing that there's Scientology places all over the country, I'm scared and fascinated for how this goes.
Yeah. So, anyways, eventually Sarah leaves him, says that he's insane. He gets she gets away. She gets away, and she leaves him. They get a divorce.
She gets
abducted.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of like a levitated word or whatever. She just gets,
she just
taken.
ascends.
Yeah.
She becomes clear. So he marries a new girl.
It's the big sigh where you're like, so he marries somebody else.
He marries a new girl, and he founds the Church of Scientology. And he.
In what year is this?
That
he founds it.
Mid 50s, 53, 54.
Okay.
And
so 5 years after he's walked out on by all these psychologists, he's like, this is a new thing.
Yeah, and so he realizes he openly says. He says, you can't become a millionaire. This is an exact quote. He said, you can't become a millionaire by writing books for $1 a word. He says, you can become a millionaire by starting a religion.
That's a quote?
That's a exact quote. He straight up said that. And so
the alien said he said that. I'm just so curious how this ends up with people in Kansas City handing me a pamphlet outside a yard house the other night.
What seems likely is that he tried to become a world-renowned psychologist for this new idea, Dianetics.
Right.
And nobody believed him. His foundation came under some pretty serious legal problems because it was fraud.
But if you disguise it as a religion, it becomes, I can believe what I want.
Yeah, it's untouchable because now you don't have to be a licensed therapist. Your religious therapy can be whatever you want it to be because you're a religion. And then your tax system is totally different. Like he was in some serious tax trouble. And so he just declared it a religion to dodge a bunch of legal problems. And he realized, coincidentally, that making it a belief system instead of an like intellectual academic thing, more people were willing to accept it than the academics were.
Got it.
And so he was able to find a lot of people, especially like his culty friends, to buy into this in those early days. And so he bought this little house in Washington, D.C. It's now called the L Ron Hubbard Museum. So he's got his own museum in D.C., which is interesting. But it was the Academy of Scientology. That's where it all started.
Okay.
And so he targeted influential and important people to kind of believe this system. And he promised them this clear situation where he said, you follow this system, you go through this, you can become clear and you'll be more physically healthy, you'll be more mentally and emotionally healthy than you've ever been in your life. All it'll cost you is $100,000 to go through the program.
Okay.
And so you pay to go through the program. We'll walk you through all the steps. And so he found these ultra rich people who were depressed and took advantage of them at a low point in their life and promised them clarity and health and happiness.
But I think if you find someone in that kind of state, right, in a depressive state, any kind of structure will provide more clarity.
Yeah, but people in those states are vulnerable.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is that it doesn't have to be the right structure.
Yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing of like, this person changed my life because they told me to make my bed every morning.
Yeah.
You know, and ever since I've done it, I've just had so much more clarity and peace. And you're like, well, yeah, but I mean, you just had a discipline and you stuck with it. That's general wisdom.
Yeah. So the process was get a bunch of really influential people in.
Okay.
And he was clever about it because it wasn't in most world religions, if you're going to believe in that world religion, you're denying all other world religions.
Right.
This is the one. Scientology is non-exclusive. You can be a Christian and still be a Scientologist. You can be a Hindu and still be a Scientologist because you're not, for the Scientologist, your definition of the spiritual world and of God can come from anywhere. It's more of the way of life and the commands of how to be a human come from Scientology. The spiritual can come from somewhere else.
Okay.
And so he made it to where it's like you can continue.
It's like the Enneagram.
Kinda.
Am I wrong? Uh-oh.
I mean, yeah, that's you've kind of got it.
All right. Well, the road back to you. So go ahead.
Anyways, a lot of people bought into it, and then L Ron Hubbard got super rich off of this. Obviously. Because people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to ascend to this level of clarity. So I guess we can dive into Scientology itself real quick. So in Scientology is obviously a very guarded religion. They don't want you to know everything.
Yeah, because you got to pay.
Yeah, you got to spend the money to know everything. Also because it's weird. And if it was public, then everyone would be like, "This is stupid." But if they get their claws in you, then they can trick you.
And they're pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
So especially that's why they're in Midtown is that they rope people in from Power and Light.
Yeah. They know exactly the type of people to target. Like they have the system. The rich who are in vulnerable places, and they know exactly how to twist them and gaslight them and push them the direction they want to push them. It's a very well-oiled system.
Yeah.
Very bad system, but it's well-oiled and built to get them the conclusion that they want out of people. And the whole concept is everybody has like a level. So you enter in and you got to do all these audits and reach your clarity. And as you go through, they have all these levels. And I think they're like OT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. 8. I think 8 is the top.
Okay. Of clarity?
No. So you reach your clarity. And then after you reach your clarity, you become an operating thetan. I'm an operating thetan.
Yeah.
Operating thetan.
Operating thetan.
Operating thetan. You become an operating Satan.
You said it that time.
I did.
All right.
Thetan is just the word that Hubbard made up to mean the soul. So it's basically your soul. But
this is after you've reached clear.
So yeah, you've reached clear, and now you've got to ascend the ranks.
Jeez. Okay.
And so
clear used to be the top.
Yeah.
But then he's like, well, I can make more.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, you spend $100,000 to get clear.
Yeah.
Then you spend $200,000,
which is also
OT1.
And just so we're all on the same page, when you go to an airport and there's the TSA alternative called Clear, that also costs $100,000, and that's what we're talking about. Is where you can just go up and use your little pupil to get in front of the TSA line.
And those people spend $100,000 to do that.
Yeah, I did it one year.
So
I'm in an incredible amount of debt for 1 year of Clear.
So, and each level you go up, they reveal more to you.
Obviously.
And you go through all this auditing process. They have this thing
but who
called
knows the most?
OT8. So that's the top
So are
level.
you being taught by people in higher tiers?
Yeah. So the people in those tiers are meeting with you. It's really interesting. I'll touch on that real quick in a second. I do want to grab a picture of this thing real quick. So as you go through the OT ratings, you have to do this the audits pretty regularly.
Right.
So stupid. So you have to do these audits really regularly to make sure like your energy and your clarity is there. And so Hubbard invented this thing called the E meter, and the E meter is metering your emotions. And here's a picture of what this thing looks like. The best way I could describe this, for if you're listening, it's like, remember in like the 90s when malls had those spaceships you could explore?
Yeah.
And like it was like made out of plastic and there's all this stuff. But anyways, it's like this really, really crappy looking like electronic device with all these knobs and screens and stuff. And then there's these little tin cans that you just hold on to. And it's kind of like the idea.
If you were to make up a lie detector, like if you were just to start from scratch and be like, what do you think a lie detector should look like? This is the only thing you have to go off of is an old CD player. Then that's what this would look like.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. So
if like you had to take that and just like turn that into a lie detector.
Yeah.
So you got to hold those the rose gold things.
Yeah, you hold the little rose gold, and then they ask you a bunch of questions about your memories and stuff. And
do you want to go?
Here's the problem, like.
Yeah, I really want to.
It's expensive.
To go?
I mean, you can go, I'm sure, but like they kidnap you. Like that's part of the experience.
Yeah, they tie you up and put you in their basement. And they call you Sarah. They're like, what do you think about that, Sarah? You're like, my name's Jaron.
Call me Sarah.
Oh yeah, Sarah.
Call me Polly.
Yeah, they call her Thera. So. Hey, have you ever heard of TILLN merchandise? That's right. We've got a full store of branded tees, mugs, hoodies, stickers, a lot more. All of it's available online. If you just text TILLN to 66866, we'll send you a link for all of that. And we put out new designs with every episode, but those are only available for a limited time, so get them while they're hot.
So you grab the knobs, and then the person asks you all these questions about your memories.
Okay.
And if you audited properly,
but we could go to the Church of Scientology building.
I'm sure we could.
I'm saying, would you like to try to get roped in? You and I, let's go to the
Here's
initial.
the problem. They would look at us and they'd be like, you guys aren't rich enough for this. Like they would
look at you.
No,
we could go in my car.
They want to be roping hundreds of thousands of dollars out of people. We don't have
No, dude. I'm saying they're handing out pamphlets downtown Kansas City. I'm saying let's go to the entry level, and the people who were handing it to me are not rich people.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they're roping in people who aren't
trying
like
to put you in debt. I guess I don't know. But anyways, you grab the things.
I think they would want me, not even for my money, but for my social media influence.
Yeah, that is true. They do like.
That's what I'm saying.
Famous
is
people.
that and I'm going to try to lower my voice because I heard myself go saying, would you like to try
to infiltrate Scientology?
I feel like I'm having a real conversation with you right now, and you're acting like I'm not.
I think this is crazy.
Yeah, but I'm saying we could do it.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like there's that TikTok cult out in Los Angeles that I want to join.
Yeah, you do really want to join that cult.
I don't want to be in a cult. I don't want to be. We need a safe word.
You don't want to be in a cult, but you want to be in a cult.
I want to be in a cult, but I don't want to be brainwashed by a cult.
I don't want to. You want to be in a cult, but you don't want to be in a cult.
But I think that they know that. I think they're good at finding people who are.
Yeah, they're good at figuring out who's real, and they're serious. Like especially like maybe those lower levels they'll let anybody in, but as you start to ascend to clarity in the OT levels,
was it that
they spy on you and they monitor every part of your life? And
that guy whose special you liked, where he does the whole suggestive stuff. What's Darren?
Oh, Darren Brown, yeah.
Okay. Did he also do the thing where they get someone to push somebody off a building? Was that also him?
Yes.
Okay. So with the way they did that, if you don't know, is that on Netflix?
It used to be. I don't know if it still is. It's called Push.
Yeah. It was called Push.
Yeah.
They did a whole thing where they get somebody in a made-up scenario where everyone in the thing is actors, and then it escalates through the night of just like little suggestive things of like they drop sandwiches on the floor and put them back on the tray, and they're like, hey, still go serve those.
Yeah.
And so just like saying yes to those things.
Yeah.
And then eventually it ends with them having to push someone off a building.
Yeah.
Literally push someone off a building, and it's a stunt person who is
There's like
falling.
a platform, yeah.
And so I'm saying is that a similar kind of tactic? Or is there similar things like that they're employing that they can figure out your suggestibility?
Probably. I mean, if it is, it's not public. We don't know.
That's why I think I wouldn't be in a cult, is because I wouldn't get chosen for Push.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not suggestive.
We watched it together, and she was like, oh, yeah, I would get chosen for this.
I would push someone off.
You would. You would push someone off, but you wouldn't do the sandwich thing. That's what I'm saying. You're like evil.
I'd get up on the roof and be like, oh, you want me to push him off the roof? Yeah, man.
I would show up and be like, can I be the one who does it?
Promise you won't tell? Promise? Dude. You promise?
But here's what you would do, though. You would do it thinking you were in a thing
thinking
like
it was a bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Thinking it was a bit. I'd be like, this is...
You would do it and be like, okay. And then you push someone to their death.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, this wasn't a joke?
Where are the cameras?
I'd be like, you guys aren't joking?
Ashton?
Why would you do this to me without it being a joke?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, officer. I thought this was all a joke.
I thought
I was on reality TV.
I thought the knife was fake. And I didn't realize until after the 20th time stabbing that person. What I'm saying is that I think they would know our suggestibility was not there.
Yeah, probably.
But we could probably fake it. And also, their tests are dumb and made up.
Yeah.
We're just holding these little things, accessing memories.
Here's the thing. I think the tests are a white rabbit. I think what they're trying to do is trying to make you believe that you're going through these audits and trying to make you believe that you're doing all this clarity stuff to ascend your levels, when really they're just draining money from you until they realize it's the same concept as microtransactions with the whales. They're trying to move you up the levels, and when they feel like they're losing you, they push you up and give you that reward.
Same thing that counselors are doing. Psychologists are
they're all aliens, just sucking a little bit of money from you. So I think it's, but the idea is...
Right when you almost have a breakthrough, they go, our time is up.
Tell me about your father.
We'll discuss this next week.
So the idea is you're clearing your mind, you're getting rid of all your bad memories, and all your all your bad emotions.
Right.
And when you do that, you ascend the OT levels. You're operating Thetan 1, operating Thetan 2, until you get to 8. 8's the highest level.
Okay.
well,
that's what I'm saying. Is someone who's gone through all this the one administering the test?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the person administering the test is at least one level above you.
Okay.
They're at least one above you. And so as you're going up the levels, you start to get more power in the organization. You start to get more perks, and you learn
then
more
you're
stuff.
entrenched in more, and you feel no weirdness about giving your money away.
You learn more stuff. And I think that's what most people are so interested about, is like, because the lie that they paint is that Scientology has all the answers. Like they know any answer, any question about why we're here, what we're supposed to do. Scientology has the answers, and they'll give it to you if you spend enough money, or if you get clarity is what they say. But it's if you spend enough money. Leah Remini in her show, she talks about when she reached OT3, she got access to
QuickBooks invoice. They just do it all through QuickBooks.
She got access to learn about Lord Xenu.
This is what I'm saying, though. You and I couldn't make it past click because they would go. Imagine sitting across from an O4, right? Or whatever they're called. T4.
OT4.
OT4.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's time to learn about Lord Xenu. And you are just like, yes.
That's exactly how I'd react, like face to face. You say Lord Xenu to my face, and I'd be like, is this a Devil Wears Prada song?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Here's the thing. Okay, so Leah Remini talks about it. She gets OT3, and she said, here's exactly what happened to her. She said, they gave her an office to go to in their headquarters, and she got to the office. And
headquarters is where at this point?
In the LA one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on whatever that is.
No, I know where
Ron
it is.
Hubbard Way, whatever. The
Hollywood
ugly
Boulevard.
blue building.
Yep, it's on Hollywood.
So you go up. She's like, I went up to this office, and there was like a clerk, and the clerk asked me a couple questions, and then they gave me a briefcase, and I went to a separate office. When I got to that office, they gave me a code that only I knew the code to. And so I could open the briefcase. I open the briefcase, go to that second office, and hand them the open briefcase, and they put the file in that briefcase. They close it, and they clip it to your clothes. So it's like stuck to your body, right? And so it has to be like connected to you at all times is the idea.
Okay.
And only you know the password, right? So then you go to a different office, and there's someone waiting for you there that's like that next level of OT3 or whatever. You're ascending to that level. And you get taken to this room, and then they say, okay, you can open the document now. And so they're sitting across the street, across the table from you. Across the street.
In a different building with binoculars. And they're like, walkie-talkie.
What do you think of that? Switch to secure channel 3.
Why don't you open the briefcase now? Okay. And we're going to give you a few moments to read that paper.
So she...
And it just says, I have a bomb. And you're like, what? Oh, sorry, we gave you the wrong paper. It was a D.B. Cooper reference. You get it.
Meanwhile, D.B. Cooper's on the plane.
He hands it.
Lord Xenu created the
Lord
universe.
Xenu? The flight attendant is like, okay. And he's like, we must have switched to briefcases.
Somebody get me Leah Remini.
So she gets to the office.
They
open the briefcase. They're sitting across the table.
And she said because I'm a celebrity, like I get like special perks that most people don't. So her mom got to be there to watch her reaction. Her mom's OT8.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Why is her mom in before her?
Because she was raised in Scientology. Her family is like a big Scientology family.
Okay.
And so her mom's OT8, and so her mom's like super excited for her to find out like the mysteries of the universe, right?
Lord Xenu.
And so she reads the whole thing, and Leah says in the documentary, she said this was the moment where she like turned, like Leah did, because she read it and she was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life." And she's like trying to eyeball her mom and be like, "Is this real?
The joke?
Like, is this?" And like, and so
did I just drop $500,000
on this?
She's like, "You did this not for a show? Am I This isn't punked?
This is real? And so the guy across from you then quizzes you on it. Yeah. And if you get it wrong, you have to read it again, and he quizzes you again until you get it right.
That's straight up brainwashing.
I know. And so here's the concept. So the concept is everybody's a thetan, and the thetans are every square inch of your body is millions of other beings, and thetans are so like your fingers are millions of thetans, your elbows are millions of thetans, your nose are millions of thetans, and they're all the thetans that
your
did
head,
not
shoulders,
live.
Knees, and head, shoulders, thetans, toes, thetans, toes, head, shoulders, thetans.
Oh, I used to always sing head, shoulders, Satan's toes, and I was like, I don't have Satan's toes.
I don't have Satan's toes. Wow, Satan's toes sounds like what our Patreon supporters told us to say. We did secret code words with some of our Patreon supporters, and Satan's toes is a.
That sounds like something they tell us to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Big Bang, a bunch of thetans were released into existence,
and they came together to create
humans.
Okay.
So millions of thetans are you, and they are all following this.
I guess I'm confused how we get from Dianetics. Yeah. Are you going to tie this all together? Because it's confusing to me of like how this guy starts this thing as a psychological practice.
Yeah.
Turns it into a belief, and suddenly it's Lord Xenu.
Yeah. So the Dianetics was his failed psychiatry,
but it's involved
career.
In this,
and so that was a springboard.
Okay.
So that's his first opening door.
So she's saying that this was the point where she realized this is all dumb.
Yeah. Because
what do you do then? Do you just leave the office?
Well,
they don't let you leave.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch, like, she's got her whole series about it, and it's very interesting to watch, like, her about her.
What platform is that on?
It's on Netflix.
Is it really?
Yeah. And so
we're sponsored by her Scientology show.
And
we're also sponsored to not say the name of it.
Scientology's paying us to not say the name.
Yeah.
Leah Remini is telling us.
That's business right there. That's what you got to do. Yeah. You know? You got to promote it, but like you can't say what it is.
Yeah. Lord Xenu comes into it. He's some alien who came and brought the thetans to Earth.
Okay.
And he's like their god. And there was like a volcano.
So he's the god of all the millions of things that are you.
I guess.
I guess he says, okay, great.
And there was this volcano that erupted in the universe that broke everything. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The only reason we know about this is one, because Leah Remini talked about it, but before that, somehow, and I don't know how this happened, but somehow someone leaked this information to South Park, like the writers of South Park, and they made an episode about it. So South Park is the only reason why this is public information. They don't want it to be public, and they're really mad that South Park leaked it. But, you know.
But what?
So South Park has an episode about Scientology.
At a certain point, Scientology's got to be like, no, they're all aliens. It's making. I mean, I'm sure they're vilifying.
Oh, 100%. And so, I mean, that's the thing is like it's so propagandized. So they have this belief, like the people who follow Scientology, like they believe L Ron Hubbard had this glorious military career, and the government's covering it up because they don't want you to know, because they're aliens. They say the same thing with psychiatry, like the psychology stuff. They're aliens trying to cover it up. And like everybody outside who's always belittling and trying to tear it down, like they're the aliens trying to keep us away from Dianetics. Because that's going to save humanity and ascend us to this higher level of consciousness and being that Scientology affords the human race or whatever.
Sure.
They actually believe that L Ron Hubbard's still alive. And so they believe what happened was he was making all this groundwork.
They think he's 111 years old.
Well, he was making all this groundwork in his studies, and he realized at a certain point, he said, my body's holding me back. So he left his body and ascended to Xenu's plane, where he can continue doing research at Xenu's plane, and he's going to return and take all the Scientologists with him to Xenu's plane because they spent enough money on it. And they genuinely believe this, like, because it's propaganda. Like, they're brainwashed.
Yeah. I believe that he ascended to a Margaritaville in the sky, and from there has returned in the body of Pete Davidson. And I will follow him for all of my days.
So here's the thing. There's been a lot of legal controversies. They did have tax exempt status for a long time. They ended up getting it revoked because they were making too much profit to be a tax exempt organization. There's a certain point, there's a certain threshold where your profits are too high and you can't be a nonprofit anymore.
What level is that though? Because
I don't know. They exceeded it.
because like I mean like
there's a lot of very
I was like there's a lot of very lucrative like big money things moving.
Yeah. So they exceeded that somehow. And they started getting a lot of.
That's what I'm saying.
Trouble.
I don't think they can be solely relying on the 100,000, like like the celebrity money people. They've got to have small
There's plenty of people
feeders
that are going into debt.
Yeah,
like to do this as well. But
there's a Saudi prince who's spending $55,000 a month on microtransactions.
They started getting all these legal trouble. He actually got arrested in France. Well, he didn't get arrested. He got convicted and sentenced to prison in France, but he never went.
To France?
To France. He's just like, I'm not going there anymore.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, well, if you do, if you come over here, we're going to put you in jail. And he's like, well, I just won't go there. Well, you better.
Why don't you come on over? We got a new restaurant we opened up last week.
Yeah, you're going to love it.
Dianetics.
We serve Sandra Bruschetta bread.
String cheese.
This new place called In Theory.
In Theory. You'll love it. I swear.
You got to come over here.
Yeah.
Oui. Or whatever they say. I don't know how French people sound.
Oh my gosh. So because they were facing so much legal trouble, he started the Sea Org. And the Sea Org is all those boats he had.
Right.
He just moved the headquarters of Scientology to the ocean.
And so it's
just
waters.
Floating on the ocean is the headquarters. Now they are exempt from all law because they're maritime and they're not a real thing anymore. I guess if you're on the ocean long enough, you don't exist.
Are you telling me Scientology is run by pirates?
I mean, yes.
In very simple terms, yeah.
Yeah. And so he spent the rest of his life floating, and then he did come back to land at one point in, I think, Florida, and they started the land base. I could be wrong on where that's located, but I think it's... They're like, hey, you can't do that here. That's against the law. He's like, no, I'm at the sea. This is SeaWorld.
This is SeaWorld. Like, I mean, he's got us there. That's not...
It is maritime law, I guess. And so...
Just L Ron and Thamu. Thamu is the whale. Shamu? You get it? Name?
I didn't. But now I get it.
You just did a frat boy. Yeah, it's super. Yeah. Soup's funny, bro. So he died when?
He died...
According to us.
According to reality, he would have died when he was 74, which puts his death
not 85. 85?
Hold on. There is way too much credentials on his Wikipedia page. 86. January 24th, 1986.
Okay.
And
At sea?
No, he died in California. Yeah, and so Scientology, I mean, here's the thing. They've taken advantage of a lot of people, and there's a lot of legal, like, tax evasion stuff, like fraud stuff, and even a lot of, like, harassment and a lot of abuse of all kinds of abuse. Pick a prefix to abuse. They've done it, and they've been convicted. L Ron Hubbard, actually, a lot of his OT8 members when he was alive had been convicted of federal crimes and went to prison because he would literally convince people to go to government offices and like set them on fire and like do crazy stuff because he had such a chokehold on these people, like convincing them that those are the aliens who are trying to keep us from what's good. And so they were like, oh, this is like a rebellion.
But how is it still going?
Well, some guy took his place.
I was gonna say, who's in charge?
His next in command or his next of kin, I guess. It wasn't his son, but just some guy that was like his number 2 person, I guess, while he was alive. Took over it. I'm trying to remember his name.
What are you just Googling president of Scientology?
Scientology.
President of Scientology biceps.
David Miscavige
Okay.
is the leader now, and he was like his number 2 man during his era, and so
is he out at sea?
they have a land base that they operate out of, and then they've got
What
the
do they
Sea
call
Org.
it? Land org?
I'm pretty sure they call it land base. I'm like pretty sure.
How big is the Sea Org? Is there a picture of it?
Yeah, let me see.
Because what I picture is like, Battleship and the aircraft carrier. I imagine them on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, it's not that. So it's like a big old yacht.
Okay.
Almost more like a cruise ship. Like a cruise ship's probably a better way to describe it. And what they do is like a lot of teenagers will work the ship, and that's a way for them to ascend to like an OT level early without spending all the money. And so they can get a lot of kids in here, like a youth group, and get them to jump levels quickly and brainwash them young on board the ship.
Do you want to
pretend to be high schoolers and join the
We
Sea
don't have to
Org?
pretend to be high schoolers. We'll just say we're too poor.
Well, no, they do it. It's like a youth program. You have to be young.
Okay. Do you want to ascend to the 6th dimension and jump timelines when we were younger and then go? Would you send your kid? What if your kid came home one day and was like, great opportunity.
I have this really lucrative opportunity.
I'm about to go sail the 8 seas. Hold on.
Hold on.
What was that last part you just said?
What's the 8th? Tell me more about the 8th.
Well, I can't because they haven't let me open that briefcase yet.
Yeah, I got to get to OT3.
What is this, Deal or No Deal? They haven't let you open the briefcase yet. What are you talking about?
Oh my god. So a lot of celebrities have bought into it because that's their strategy. Most notably,
Tom Cruise.
well, I was gonna say John Travolta.
Both of them. Tom Cruise and John Travolta. What's the thing? So, okay, quick. But speaking of those things then, what's the whole thing about no medication and no...
Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to take any of that stuff because that is...
doctors are aliens too, right?
Yep, and they're trying to keep you from clear.
So...
and so you won't
do
make
you
it
think
to
they
clear.
got vaccinated?
Probably not. I'm just going to say probably
They just take a
not.
gulp of seawater every morning.
So they wrote a book called... Or he wrote a book called...
L Ron did? Did Excalibur ever get released? Is that what
nope.
they're basing all this stuff off of?
Nope. And so that's like kind of what they say is like you extended high enough, you get to read Excalibur.
That's what I'm saying, dude. We got to get in this.
And so he wrote a book
Just
called...
out of curiosity. I'll give my life away to a cult just for the curiosity of it.
He wrote a book called Battlefield Earth late in his life. L Ron Hubbard.
L Ron? I thought we were talking about John Travolta.
It's his only book that has ever been published into a movie. And it's starring John Travolta and L Ron Hubbard. Oh, wait. No, it's not. He was dead.
Okay.
I was going to say.
I was interested.
No,
I've seen this one. It's the John Travolta movie where that baby talks.
No.
It's him and what's that actress's name? Do you know what I'm talking about? The movie is literally called Look Who's Talking.
Oh.
And it's Bruce Willis as a baby.
Oh.
It's not his face. It's a baby.
But Bruce Willis voices the baby.
Bruce Willis voiceover, and they didn't do animation then, so the mouth isn't moving.
Oh my god!
And it's just the baby's thoughts, right?
that
Or is
sounds
the baby
awful.
talking? The baby's not talking. It's the baby's thoughts.
Yeah. This is worse.
Okay.
So this is actually like lots of critics have said this is the worst film ever made. It's got a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's watch it.
Yeah. So I feel like we should.
When was it?
It came out in 2000.
So this is still like, John Travolta's got a career.
I'm sure you've probably seen this cover. It's John Travolta on the cover. He's the main guy, and it's famously bad. Here it is. Oh, which you might have seen. I mean, I remember this coming out. Nobody liked it. Pretty bad.
Take Back the Planet.
Yeah. And there's Johnny.
This is still during his career though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's not like it's coming out now.
No, yeah, that was peak John Travolta.
and he was like, I'm going to use this. Wow, that's rough.
Yeah, pretty bad.
So we have to watch it.
Yeah.
And two, I mean, like, no, I watched that.
Really? Did you?
Yeah. It's they're making another one this year.
Really?
Yeah, it's the whole Disney has the whole area of it. And the guy
was like in 3D, right?
Yeah. James Cameron spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah, this was the prequel.
Prequel to Avatar.
Yeah. And then Avatar came out. This prequel, worst movie ever made. Avatar, best movie ever made.
You think Avatar was the best movie ever made?
Well, it made the most money for a little while. It was the most profitable for a little while.
That's true.
Until it wasn't again.
You know they're making 4 more of them?
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. Anyway.
Same thing with Battlefield Earth. They're making 4
Battlefield Earth 5.
Battlefield Earth.
Take back
OT3.
Keep Earth back.
All right, I think we need to...
We need to fiddle off Satan.
Fiddle off the Satan.
Things I Learned Last Night is a production of Space Tim Media. Produced by Christian Taylor, audio is edited by Alex Garnett, video by Connor Betts, social media is run by Caleb Walker, and graphic design by Caleb Goldberg. Our hosts are Jaron Myers and Tim Stone. Please follow us on social media at TILLN Podcast. That's TILLN Podcast. Leave a review, comment, subscribe wherever you are. Thank you for listening to Things I Learned Last Night.